They're doing well. Like, they don't need him now. That's the thing.
No,
So
you want him to be hitting his strides come finals. You know, that's
Bingo.
what it's all about. September footy.
When you run into the D's and lines, that's when you want him to be playing his best footy.
Yeah, and you forgot the Blues there, mate. Let's talk about some AFL.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
AFL. Sir Doug Nicholas round. I've done it now. Doug Nichols. Fuck, man. Oh, my goodness. So Doug Nichols Indigenous round. Round 10, Friday night. I watched this game. The Carlton Blues continue their good form. They're currently third pending Freo's game this afternoon, doing Sydney Swans.
It looks like Little Papa got hit in that one.
Oh, as Josh Papali's just caught one in the old meat and two veg, has he?
It looks that way.
I wonder if it's Little Papa or if it's just Big Papa. Big Papa by name, Big Papa by nature.
It's Big Papa all round.
Indeed. All right, no, we're talking AFL. We're talking AFL at the moment. The Blues, they're looking really good. Shout out to the Carlton Draft. And again, we do have some Carlton Draft merch that we've purchased. You can use the code ESKY to get 20% off any Carlton Draft purchases. They said that Carlton this year... they're kind of sort of choking but still winning. So Carlton of old would have just rolled over and lost.
Fading, but they're holding on just.
But their analogy was quite interesting. They said that the Carlton Blues are the autoerotic asphyxiation blues. I've made a meal of that word. Autoerotic
I wasn't attempting it.
asphyxiation blues. Yes. So essentially, you know, the Michael Hutchins blues, if you will, having a Hillary Swank while having a plastic bag or something put over your head, where they choke, but not enough to lose. They just kind of they're just choking, and the fans are getting scared. I might pass out, and it just releases this powerful orgasm at the end for blue baggers to empty their blue balls, if you will.
Hopefully, you've told your missus not to come in the lounge room when the Blues are on TV.
Come in the lounge room, you reckon?
No, not come in the lounge room. She not come in. Because you're doing the opposite.
We were watching this game. The pants were on. The heart was in the mouth because there's two games earlier this year where Carlton won by a point, I think, against Hawthorn and 3 points against Port Adelaide, where they had reasonable leads and were just like, and you kind of got that feeling on Friday night, but they were able to hang on. Charlie Curnow.
Did Buddy kick one from 70 in this?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think it was. I think I know what you're talking about. It was long range.
I don't think it was 70.
Definitely outside of the 50.
I'm glad let's bring out the footage. 70's a long way.
I know it was a long way.
70's a long way. Charlie Curnow did kick 6. He is currently number 1, I think, in the Coleman race, which is unbelievable considering Harry Mackay's on that team as well. An unbelievable resurgence for Charlie Curnow, hounded by injuries. He did play towards the end of last year. There's your boy Xavier Savage showing what he can do for the Canberra Raiders. As Monks chases up this footage, you might have to go into the game highlights. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if it's worth chasing this up. It may make for terrible podcasting. Back to Curnow, third bag of 5 or more. We'll have a look at the Coleman medal as Monkey maybe finds this highlight. A little bit of chat around Cripps, 3 votes. Election chat, making your own box and putting down 3 votes for Paddy Cripps. He is currently the favourite to win the Brownlow, which is unreal considering how banged up he was last year. Coleman medal leaderboard. Have you found this highlight, or is this...
No, you keep going.
Yeah, I think this is terrible podcasting. I think we're fucking nail on it. Let's just call it... Sean, it's 70 metres. I don't care. Call it fucking 100. Because it's making for some ordinary listening, I would think. Both of these teams play big Melbourne teams next week. Swans have the Tigers on Friday night, and the Blues get to enjoy a 9-day turnaround, and they play the Pies at the G next Sunday, so we might keep an eye on that as we podcast. Obviously, the Pies and Blues, a massive rivalry in AFL, VFL history. I looked up the head-to-head at the moment. It's currently 128, 4 draws. Wow. So it's even Stevens. Obviously, Collingwood having the Mickey over Carlton over the last sort of 10 years, essentially, in that fixture. Carlton will start favourites, you'd imagine, next week there. Could you find any footage there of Buddy Franklin?
I'm still going.
Well, Charlie Kerr now has 33 goals. He leads Tom Lynch 31. We'll get to him in just a second. And Tom Hawkins on 29. Good segue. Tom Hawkins, Geelong. They beat the Port Adelaide Power in Geelong yesterday. Port had 1-4 on the trot.
Bit of a resurgence, but
yeah, a bit of a resurgence after starting the game as badly as he could. 0-5.
Yeah, well, didn't they play good teams and then kind of went into the softer part of their schedule?
Yeah,
and
they did have they
coming up against Geelong is
they were
step back up.
They did start against some powerhouses in like Carlton Blues, Adelaide Crows, et cetera, dropping a few of those games early on. I can tell you who they lost to start off the season. Brisbane Lions. So yes, fair. They lost to them round 1 by 11 points. Hawthorn. That was when they got dicked and everyone was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Then they lost that was the Jordan Dawson after the siren.
Yeah,
reverse swinger in round 3 for the Crom to win the showdown.
Up the top.
Got smacked by the D's. That's fair enough. And the powerhouse, that is Carlton. So first 5 rounds, they lost to the top 3 teams in that. Yep. So maybe, strength of schedule kind of came into it. They come into a pretty strong Geelong team, a team that they hadn't beaten in Geelong for 15 years. A bit of a fortress for them down at GMHBA Stadium. Does have a little bit of a hole in the fortress actually at the moment. You've seen that goal, one of the ends. There's no fucking stand at the moment. So people essentially on this analogy could walk straight into the fortress. But they defended their fortress pretty well. Cam Guthrie 38, Jeremy Cameron. Jeremy Cameron. I need to have a few more beers. 3 for Jezza Cameron, 3 for Tyson Stengel. Pat Dangerfield, a little bit of a late injury concern. He would be having scans today or tomorrow. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. We've got footage. Wow, we. All right. Buddy, release it. That's...
May 60.
I'll give you 65. I'll give you 65. That's Marvel as well, not the SCG. So you've got to kind of take into consideration sometimes at the SCG, those ones when they kick it from inside the centre square, it's not really as far as everywhere else because it's only like a metre from the 50 to the centre square. I'll give you over 60s. I'll give you under 65. I'll say that's 62 on the fly there from Buddy Franklin. I'm glad we chased that up. There we go. Under over 62 and a half. There's a fucking elbow sign behind.
What does it say on this?
I don't know what he's saying. Anthony Albanese, our new Prime Minister down here, said he loves 3 things. Politics, the Catholic Church, and South Sydney Rabbitohs. So, bittersweet day, I guess, for Albo. He probably would have rather South win than he win last night, I'd imagine. Said no one ever. What does it say? From the bottom to the top, we are here. Something like that.
Something like that.
From the bottom, now we are here.
From the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Yeah. Started from the bottom, now the elbow's fucking here. Yeah,
Great chat.
Bit of elbow chat. Shit chat from me. Shit chat from that sign. I don't think that's really that good.
Where were we? Geelong inconsistent. They've gone win, loss like the Delhi Caps.
Yes.
So got Crom coming up next week. You'd think they'd do well against them.
Should win that.
And
Port
have
the Bombers. Should win.
Yeah.
Should, woulda, coulda for both those teams. Bulldogs, they had a much-needed win against Gold Coast Suns yesterday to get them back to 500. Last time we spoke, we said what's going on with the Dogs. They were 3-5 at that stage. They're back to 500. They're 5-5 now, so starting to steady the ship. Holy... Jordan Rapana has absolutely murdered Blake Taff. That is a shot and a half. That's not a shoulder charge. He's finished the tackle there.
Yeah.
Rapana, he is fired up. Blake Taff, all right. He's straight back on his feet. Good for my fantasy team. Hopefully he's not too bad. Bang! Fucking boom. That's a good shot there from Jordan Rapana. Wow, there's a lot going on in this game. Let's try and talk Bulldogs Suns. The Suns in their last 2 teams had beaten the Swans and Dockers. They've also beaten Carlton. So they've beaten a few good sides. They couldn't continue that run. Marcus Bontempelli was showing why he's one of the best players in the competition. He had 24 and 3 sausage rolls, 3 also to Aaron Norton. Can you look up Joel Jeffrey, please? He's a 20-year-old who kicked 5 goals straight for the Gold Coast Suns yesterday. Not a name that I'm overly familiar with. And a little bit of a sad story as well coming out of this game for the Gold Coast Suns, Rory Thompson. Essentially 3 injury riddled seasons, barely played because of ongoing knee injuries. 3rd game back, knee injury. So let's hope those scans come back and it's not the worst news for him. Who was that Swans player back in the day? Alex Johnson. He had, I think, 6 Ricos, which I can't imagine how you bounce back from 1.
It's just constant rehab.
Yeah.
Suck.
It's just, it's just the shittest luck that you can have, and it ruins guys' careers. So let's hope those scans come back, and it's not the worst news for Rory Thompson. Joel Jeffrey, what have you got for him? He is 20, is he not?
Yes, he is 20 years old. Wiki does not have his...
Too much.
He's too young to have a wiki.
Darwin-based Indigenous player is all I could see there. I was looking up before. He kind of in that mid-range kind of size. I think he's 192 centimetres, so maybe not like key tall, kind of like a mid-range, like a... Charlie Curnow, he's not like a 2 metre kind of player, if you will.
192, 80 kilos.
You got to keep talking, dude.
Just trying to find some current stats on him.
He's played four AFL games, I think.
Last season.
That's all we've got.
That
was his first. Was that his first game?
First game this season. Yeah,
and he kicked 5 goals in a losing effort. Keep an eye on him. Joel Jeffrey maybe has a bright future ahead of him. That's good as well. Indigenous boy on Indigenous round. Melbourne, they rebranded as Nam Football Club yesterday. First time that's ever happened. So literally on the TV, it said Nam Football Club playing against the Kangaroos. Kangaroos, given that they're one of the worst teams in the comp, playing the undefeated Melbourne Demons, weren't embarrassed. They went down by 47 points, which is nearly as many possessions as Clayton Oliver had, 45 for Clary. You'd give him the 3 votes, you'd think, for sure, last night for the Nam Football Club. Going to be hard, though, for him / Petrarca / Max Gorn / whoever else steals votes from them. It's not like your Lockie Neal at Brisbane or your Paddy Cripps at Carlton, Andrew Brayshaw at Freo, who have been really lights out in these first 10 weeks. They tend to take a lot of votes off each other. But an elite midfield. We talk about the big 3 in basketball. That's the big 3 there for the Melbourne Demons. A bit of an ordinary crowd. Yeah, basketball might be a good analogy. We'll get to that in a second, where you tend to get 20,000 into a little stadium. 13,000 only at Marvel.
Wow.
These fans, I was thinking, what's going on here? Why is they're top of the table, only 13,000 in on a Saturday night? Election night. Melbourne D's, known as the bougie fans in the AFL. They would have all had wine and cheese parties, to watch the election unfold, and we'll just have the D's in the background, Can't get down to Marvel tonight. Sorry, we're having an election party and booking our ski holidays.
It's the Kangaroos as well. They're in the midst of a dismal season.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I like going out and watching my team destroy other teams.
True.
But maybe that came into account where, there was no, kind of...
No one was playing for too much.
No one was playing for too much, etc. Yeah, maybe had they been going out and playing a Brisbane Lions, a Freo, which we'll get to see next week, maybe there would have been a few,
packed house.
A few more. Roos are sitting 17th pending this West Coast Giants game at the moment. I think they'll stay 17th because... Giants are humping West Coast. St Kilda, they continued their winning ways, beating the Crom by 21 points. Max King kicked 6 for the Saints. They improved to 7-3, so they're looking pretty good there. They're 5th, and they have North next week. So you'd imagine 8-3 for the St Kilda Saints. And the Crom, they've lost 4 on the trot. They did have that 1-point upset win over the Dogs in Ballarat. In round 5, I guess that would have been round 6. I don't know, quick maths. But they've lost 4 in a row. They play the Cats next week in Geelong. Pretty tall order there for the Crom. Yeah. Dream time at the G last night. 70,000 in there for the Richmond Tigers beating the Essendon Bombers. It's a really nice fixture now that's becoming a staple in Sir Doug Nicholls' round, where you get to see, the Indigenous war dance at the start of the game, and the Indigenous players from both teams getting involved in that. And seeing
great viewing.
70,000 in the G. It's kind, it's not quite obviously Anzac Day yet, but it's starting to get that feel like this is a fixture. This is celebrating Indigenous culture in this country, and when you look at how many Indigenous players there are in footy teams compared to how much they make up the percentage population of Australia, obviously highly overly represented in playing footy. Yep. We're talking about Buddy Franklin, kicking 1,000 goals. In that Swans game.
We'll get to Tipper in a second.
Yeah. Just a nice homage, I think, and doing a bit for reconciliation.
Slightly disappointing. Essendon didn't come to play as well.
Yeah, they didn't get hammered. They didn't get hammered. There's a lot going wrong at the Bombers this year. It's going to be a hard year for them. I think Darcy Parish killed it as well. Maybe I can bring up the stats there. I think he had the high 30s again, and they're just not getting good usage out of it. Are they?
No.
Did you catch highlights?
No, I didn't catch highlights.
Fake fan.
I know, right?
Jack Rewald kicked 4.
Parish had 43 disposals.
43.
Yeah.
Fuck. So, he's doing his absolute hardest. Fuck, he loves showing up on, like we were speaking about Anzac Day, how he's won. We famously didn't get the Anzac Day medal this year, but he's won one before, and he's had mid-40s before an Anzac Day. So he loves the spotlight, but wasn't enough to get the Bombers home. Rewalt 4 for the Tigers. The Tigers aren't looking too bad, are they? Now, 2 big stories outside of this one. Anthony McDonald.
From both these teams. Yep.
Yeah, Anthony McDonald, Tim Woody plans to retire. We haven't seen much of him this year. It's unfortunate for fans. When he's at his best, absolutely electrifying. Goal sneak, does some crazy things that a lot of players in the league aren't able to do. And one of those really good stories to come out of the Essendon doping scandal, when they essentially, had 6 guys on their list that they could use, and everyone had to sit out a year, and they had to try and recruit from everywhere. He came down. He was a Tiwi Islander, and actually moved to Melbourne, I think, to try and pursue footy.
Yep.
I think he might have moved as a 17, 18-year-old, something like that. Went into a foster kind of, maybe not foster, like billet kind of family, so a family taking him in and trying to, get him into the AFL, and he didn't debut until after the doping scandal as in his mid-20s. So one of those guys that had to go the long route and sort of fight for a position.
Almost gave the game up a couple of times and stuck with it, and then had an excellent career with the Bombers.
Exactly. So sad for Bombers fans, but he's just got to do what's best for him moving forward. Speaking of...
Yeah, so the other big story, Dusty, the chat that he wants to move to Sydney after being in Sydney during his break from footy. So Dimmer basically said, well, we wouldn't stand in the way of that. We've got to do what's best for him.
Yep. I'm just trying to find that exact quote from Dimmer.
Yeah. Well, and this created a lot of media storm because, of course, everyone's then... They do the quick connection. Well, if he wants to move to Sydney, there's 2 teams in Sydney. Let's say he goes to the Swans. Then what's the trade scenarios and how do they make that happen, etc.
And how much do they pay for him coming off a mental health break? And does that hurt his stock?
No, it's Dusty.
I disagree. I think it does. Like, it is Dusty. Like, we're talking about a 3-time Norm Smith.
I think this is the problem.
Talking about like a Ben Simmons sort of...
Yeah, no, well, I don't know if that's the right analogy either. It's just, when guys have injury clouds over them, when it's a physical injury, that hurts their stock, their trade stock.
Well, this is a good point, though, because I think a lot of the media have taken this angle about, and Dimmer's comment was very much like, hey, well, we're happy to let him go and do what's best for him. And they've taken the angle of, what's his value as a player versus what's his value as a person, which is what Dimmer is just like, hey, he's a good lad, I've got to do what's right with him, he's had his struggles.
Speaks volumes of the Tigers culture
exactly,
well, doesn't it?
Exactly, versus what the media is just like, oh, well, they need to make sure they get 2nd or 1st round pick, they'll make sure they trade players, and he's like, who cares about that stuff? If he wants to... Maybe he could also just say, well, I'm going to retire and move to Sydney. Like, that's also a very good option. I don't need to play anymore. I'm just... I've made it know I'm thinking of moving to Sydney long term.
He's still so good. It would be a shame to the game for to lose him. Essentially still in his prime.
No, he's a good comparison for you on Tom Brady. No one wanted to sign him. Like, he basically had to beg the Tampa Bay to pick him. The greatest of all time, won another Super Bowl straight after. Like, he's older, he's got all the talent. I think Dusty can definitely go to wherever he wants. And
did he have
potentially
to beg Tampa Bay?
Pretty much. No one else wanted him.
Beg?
Yeah, the 49ers turned him down.
That is true.
A bunch of clubs turned him down because he was too old. They didn't want him. So he called Bruce and was like, and from his perspective, it was like, everyone's turning me down. I want to go to this club.
Want to play.
And wanted to play. And Bruce was like, come down. We'll sort it out. So
I'll pay it. The GOAT in the NFL, unanimous, I think, versus someone that needs to probably start going into GOAT discussions, at least in the modern game. I do have that quote in verbatim from Dimmer Hardwick. Whatever Dustin's decision is moving forward is up to Dustin, and to be honest, he has my blessing. He's given me, us, our fans. He has been incredible, and whatever we get from here on in is a real bonus. So he has the blessing of Damien Hardwick.
He's delivered all the premierships you could ask for. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, come on, and so like I said, focus more on the man and not the value of the player. They're more than happy to support him with whatever he wants to do.
That's it.
Jeez, imagine it. The Swans are looking good with that young, up and coming forward line.
Yeah, well,
imagine you throw Dusty into the mix there. To play a little bit through the middle, a little bit.
Say a buddy retiring, and then you replace that with Dusty coming.
Jeez, that's a scary Sydney Swans, I'd reckon.
Yeah, because I wouldn't see him potentially going to GWS to play maybe 5 more years and struggle to make top 8 to make it into finals. Yeah,
they're mid tier at the moment. I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility.
No, you never know. You might want to move to West Coast, like into Western Australia somewhere. It's all speculation. They've made the Sydney connection.
Yeah, purely speculation.
He could want to move to the Sunshine Coast. Like, who the fuck knows? Go live on Noosa if he really wanted to.
Sunshine Coast. Go play for we found the Dolphins. We found the Dolphins spine.
Yeah,
Dustin Martin confirmed. He's wearing number 1.
Yeah, play fullback. For the Dolphins.
Wearing number 1.
Dolphins kicking game will be unreal.
All right. So yes, those GWS Giants, they are currently playing the Eagles. They're up big time. Can you get a score for us there, Monks? We do also have Hawthorn taking on Brisbane Lions later this afternoon, and the Dockers. Nat Fyfe is back this afternoon. So we're seeing this unbelievable start to the season from Freo without, arguably, not even arguably, without their best player. Injury riddled. I think a nice comparison is Patrick Cripps as well, who had a down year last year, so busted up shoulders and backs and the rest of it. And Fyfe, is he going to be able to get back to his, Brownlow winning best? Time will tell. But it's pretty, promising for Freo fans that they've been able to put this run together without Nat Fyfe. And he'll come into that side, with the youngsters, Andrew Brayshaw and Caleb Sarong playing lights out, and you'd imagine bolster them, and they'd probably start pretty strong favourites. You'd think this afternoon against Collingwood.
I think so. Yeah, I wonder if not having Nat's been good to start the year, as in trying to find the combination chemistry, all the other stuff.
Forces the young boys to stand up, and losing Chera as well, so losing 2 of your starting mids, with Chera going to Carlton. Maybe really that put the onus on Caleb Sarong and Andrew Brayshaw to improve. Yeah,
so the concern, though, would be that Nat comes back and they take the foot off the pedal and it's like, oh, Nat's back, he's going to do it all for us and sort us out. So, that's the whole point of coaches. You want them to then come in and, to address that and alleviate that and just manage Nat more than anything back into the game, into this. So it wouldn't surprise me if he plays limited minutes.
Yeah.
They're working back into it.
I think that's a good shout. I think, you probably elite midfielders tend to spend about 80% of their time on ground. I wouldn't be surprised if Nat starts at 65, 2/3, and then they sort of slowly work him up.
He's had bad shoulders, bad back from carrying that team for a long time.
That's the old joke. Made that one on the Esky.
There we go. So, ease him back into it. They're doing well. Like, they don't need him now. That's the thing.
No,
So
you want him to be hitting his strides come final.
Finals.
That's
Bingo.
what it's all about. September footy.
when you run into the D's and Lions, that's when you want him to be playing his best footy.
Yeah, and you forgot the Blues there, mate. Freo do start $1.30 favourites. That kicks off at 5:20 over there in the West at Optus Stadium against Collingwood. Getting a score check there. GWS are 42 points ahead of West Coast. I think it was a little bit more than that earlier on. So West Coast trying not to roll over, but you'd say the Giants are home there. And interesting first quarter there down in University of Tasmania Stadium, Launceston. Hawthorn just a goal behind Brisbane Lions, 38-32.
And Jala just kicked that one on the siren as well.
Yeah, good roost there from Charlie Cameron on the set shot to the left.
I really like the
50.
Hawks this year. They've been one of those dark horse surprise teams that have really very young squad, had some guys stand up, and they've challenged teams that either start slow or a bit off their game. They come out and play really well.
Yeah, well, we spoke about them smashing Port Adelaide, nearly beat Carlton, weren't embarrassed by any means last week against Richmond. Exactly. They've been pretty good. I really like what Jai Newcomb does. They're bullish midfielder. I think he's only 19, gone on. No, I think he might be 20 now, but he's got that soul. Like he's developed body, for a youngster, and just plays hard nosed. I think he had the most tackles ever on debut from memory. I like what he's doing. Obviously, Tom Mitchell is Tom Mitchell. It'd be interesting to see what they can do. I'm just trying to find some numbers from this game so far. Oh, your cousin kicked a goal, Jared Berry.
Good.
And Tom Mitchell, 13 first quarter disposals, if you don't mind. On track for 52. And that man, Jai Newcomb, eight disposals, 4 tackles. See, that's what I love about Jai Newcomb. He's leading the game so far for tackles. His tackling pressure is elite.
I was just going to check what Lockie's doing. Giving him a shout.
It's got 11 disposals.
Ooh. I was looking at those Brownlow odds. Max, maybe you can bring up the Brownlow odds, see what you can find on it.
At least on the Brownlow.
You can bet on the Brownlow, unlike the Dally M, which is crooked as fuck. So Paddy Cripps, when I looked last night, Paddy Cripps was favourite and Lachie Neale was second favourite. So, Monks, if you wouldn't mind just chasing that up. Jeez, you got that up nice and quickly. Oh,
I can do things.
That's what Shelley says.
Oh, yeah. We talk about sport and make dick jokes, apparently, at the Loch Ness Monster.
Hey, there wasn't a better setup for that one. That was such a good one.
Yeah, one man on my left here is a father. I'm going to be a father in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, you got to work on the dad jokes.
We've got a puppy father.
Is that a
here.
dad joke?
Yeah,
No,
dick jokes. Yeah,
that's what she said. Jokes.
yeah. It's toilet humour and it's frankly unfunny.
At On The Esky.
Monks, is that Lachie joint favourite with Paddy Cripps? Or
Joint
slightly
favourite.
ahead?
Joint favourite. Yeah, $3.50 for both of them. Petrarca's behind them at $6.
Look at that, Petrarca and Oliver. So 2 D's players. And before you get into Andrew Brayshaw and Sammy Walsh. Up the Blue Baggers. Interesting. Very early, I suppose, to be talking.
Yes, still very
Brownlow.
early.
But $3.50 doesn't seem like much value either, does it? It's
It's
half a season to go.
True. It's short. It's not like the $2, etc. But it's short. Give it a month. Maybe it'll start to favour towards one of those guys. But we'll have to see.
And
Still,
Jesus,
at $3.50.
Jesus, Buddha, Allah, I pray to all of you that neither of them get injured, but both guys as well coming off injury-riddled seasons. So if you're having a punt, hopefully no kiss of death, especially on Cripps. With a Lions fan next to me. Yes. That's all our AFL coverage, I would say, for today. Yep.